Charles Bronson, born Charles Dennis Bakinski on November 3, 1921, in Ahrenfeld, Pennsylvania, was a true product of hardship. As the 11th child in a family of 15, he knew early on what it meant to struggle. His father, a coal miner, passed away when Bronson was just a boy, leaving the family in severe poverty. At 16, Bronson began working in the coal mines, earning only $1 for each ton of coal he hauled. These tough early years shaped his personality, cultivating the quiet strength and resilience that would define his on-screen characters. He went on to serve as an aerial gunner in World War II, flying 25 missions in the Pacific, earning a Purple Heart for wounds sustained during battle. After the war, Bronson used the GI Bill to study art before eventually pursuing a career in acting. Despite his tough exterior, his early life's hardships were a major part of what made him the actor audiences would come to admire. The beginnings of a career, struggling actor in Hollywood. When Bronson moved to Hollywood, he initially faced the same difficulties as many aspiring actors. He struggled to find consistent work, taking on small roles and bit parts in both films and television. His rugged appearance and intense gaze often cast him as a tough guy or a villain, but he didn't mind. What set him apart from other actors of the time was the authenticity he brought to these roles. His deep-set eyes and silent demeanor made him perfect for characters who didn't speak much but conveyed a powerful presence. In the 1950s and 60s, his reputation grew steadily as he appeared in films like House of Wax, 1953, and The Magnificent Seven, 1960. His role as Bernardo O'Reilly in The Magnificent Seven showcased his ability to add depth to a character often considered one-dimensional, proving he was capable of much more than just playing a tough guy. A rising star in Europe, Bronson's international breakthrough. By the late 1960s, Bronson was gaining recognition not just in the US, but also in Europe, where he would go on to achieve major stardom. His reputation in France and Italy as a stoic and strong anti-hero resonated deeply with European audiences, marking a significant turning point in his career. His role in Sergio Leone's Once Upon a Time in the West, 1968, where he portrayed the mysterious harmonica-playing gunman, remains one of his most iconic performances. The film's operatic style, combined with Ennio Morricone's haunting score, elevated Bronson's on-screen presence, making him an international star. The film was praised for its layered storytelling, and Bronson's portrayal of a man driven by a personal vendetta became emblematic of the type of roles he would become famous for. Characters who weren't just physically tough, but emotionally complex. This film helped cement his status as a leading man in both Europe and the US. Bronson's peak, Death Wish, and The Vigilante Hero. The 1970s marked the peak of Bronson's career. It was during this decade that he became known as a true action star, synonymous with the revenge thriller genre. His portrayal of Paul Kersey in Death Wish, 1974, a film directed by Michael Winner, ignited national debates about crime, justice, and vigilantism. In the film, Bronson's character, an architect-turned-vigilante, seeks retribution after his family is brutally attacked. The movie's controversial themes of taking the law into one's own hands resonated with audiences, making it a commercial success. Bronson's stoic, no-nonsense portrayal of Kersey made the character iconic, turning him into a symbol of justice when the system fails. The film's success led to 4 sequels, establishing Bronson as the definitive vigilante hero in Hollywood. This role allowed him to showcase his talent for bringing depth and complexity to characters who might otherwise be seen as simplistic action figures. Later, career, Bronson's enduring popularity. Despite criticism, despite some of his later works being considered formulaic, Bronson maintained a loyal fan base throughout the 1980s. Working with directors like Michael Winner and J. Lee Thompson, He continued to appear in films such as Hard Times, 1975, The Mechanic, 1972, and 10 to Midnight, 1983. Though critics often dismissed these films as part of a pattern, Bronson's commitment to portraying gritty, grounded characters helped maintain his popularity. Even as his career transitioned to smaller, lower-budget films, his performances remained authentic. His work with the Cannon Group, a production company known for its action films, solidified his status as one of the leading figures in the action genre. For Bronson, the focus was always on staying true to himself and his characters, avoiding the flashy spectacle that other actors of the era embraced. Despite the critical reception, his loyal audience continued to appreciate his raw and authentic portrayals. The Private Life of Charles Bronson, a man of contradictions. Off-screen, Bronson was a man of mystery. Known for his private nature, he rarely shared details about his personal life with the public. Despite his tough, rugged image on screen, those closest to him described him as a quiet, gentle, and even shy person in private. His second marriage to actress Jill Ireland in 1968 was one of the defining relationships in his life. Ireland, a successful actress in her own right, often starred alongside Bronson in several films, including Breakheart Pass and The Mechanic. Their partnership, both professional and personal, was one of deep affection and loyalty. Together, they raised 7 children, blending Bronson's 2 children from his first marriage with Ireland's 3 children from her previous marriage. Despite their Hollywood success, the Bronsons remained a relatively private couple, living a peaceful life away from the public eye. The tragic loss of Jill Ireland and Bronson's later years. In the late 1980s, Jill Ireland was diagnosed with breast cancer, which would tragically take her life in 1979. Throughout her illness, Bronson was her steadfast supporter, providing care and emotional comfort. His devotion to Ireland during this difficult time showcased a side of Bronson that many of his fans had never seen. A tender and compassionate man, deeply in love with his wife. After her death, Bronson withdrew further from the public eye, unable to fully cope with the loss. His grief was deeply personal, and he rarely spoke of it in public. The story of their life together was later dramatized in the 1991 television film Reason for Living, the Jill Ireland story, which portrayed the couple's bond and Bronson's quiet strength during Ireland's final years. The final chapter, a new beginning and Bronson's passing. In 1998, almost a decade after Ireland's passing, Bronson married for the third and final time to Kim Weeks, an actress and audio producer. Their relationship was quiet, and they lived away from the spotlight, especially as Bronson's health began to decline. By this time, Bronson was dealing with a variety of health issues, including Alzheimer's disease and respiratory problems. His final years were marked by a retreat from the public eye, a contrast to his earlier, more public-facing life. He made his last film appearance in Family of Cops III, 1999, before retiring from acting altogether. On August 30, 2003, Charles Bronson passed away at the age of 81. He died from complications related to pneumonia and metastatic lung cancer. Though his death was marked by physical ailments, it was a peaceful conclusion to a life that had been defined by both triumphs and deep personal losses. Legacy of Charles Bronson. The quiet, stoic hero. Charles Bronson's legacy remains firmly cemented in Hollywood history. His characters, often the loners and outcasts, continue to resonate with audiences who value authenticity and emotional depth in their heroes. Though his career spanned several decades, Bronson's most enduring roles are the ones where he embodied the quiet, stoic figure, a man who chose actions over words and justice over conformity. His portrayal of characters who lived by their own code, outside the confines of the law, helped to redefine the action genre. For all his success, Bronson's most defining characteristic may have been his ability to stay true to himself. Even as his health declined, Bronson's commitment to his craft and his personal values remained a testament to the strength of his character, both on and off the screen.